What's up, guys? Welcome back to Gear Talk Episode 4. It's your favorite time of the week and mine as well. And we are going to be talking about wireless systems. We talked a little bit about that a few episodes ago, and I wanted just to go a little bit more in depth today, so you guys can kind of see what we're working with and maybe how that will apply to what you're working with. So our first system that we have here is the Shure SM58, which is this top section. This is actually the microphone, and this is a very iconic vocal mic that's been used for years and years and on countless live albums and concerts. It's Shure's most notable, one of the most notable microphones they have. And it's a great mic. So it's a Shure SM58, and it's sitting on top of the transmitter. And I like to think of this in very similar respects to a radio station in your car stereo. So the transmitter that's here is just like the radio station, and then the receiver that we have in the rack is just like the radio that we have in our car. And so you'll hear me use the phrase RF a lot today, and that just stands for radio frequency. So the same sort of technology with radios they use in microphones. I used to call them radio mics. So if you hear me say RF, that's what I'm talking about. So this is a digital wireless microphone, and it transmits 48 kilohertz digital audio, which it just sounds great, and it uses digital RF transmission. So it's very reliable. You can use a lot of units in a very crowded RF spectrum as opposed to an analog system. And speaking of, we actually have the Shure SM58. Again, the exact same element sitting on top of the SLX system. And this is an analog wireless system, analog audio, analog RF, and it does sound good, but there's some inherent qualities that aren't captured as effectively as the QLX system. And it's not that it's a bad microphone, it's just used for different applications, and it's just a different type of tool. And so I wanna get past the science mumbo jumbo and get right into hearing it, because that's where I think you'll hear the biggest change. So I'm gonna start with the Shure SLX microphone. And so this is what you're hearing is just the Shure SLX. You can hear the quality of it and kind of set a baseline for it. It does a good job, like I mentioned before, with talking head stuff. It's not my favorite singing microphone, but some people do use those for singing. And I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the QLX, and now you can hear the difference. You can hear the added detail that it's capturing, the clarity. I'm not using any EQ on this. I'm not using any compression. It's all directly off of the console with no processing whatsoever. So you can hear the quality of the QLX versus the quality of the SLX. Again, neither one of them is bad. They just have different uses and different functionalities. And you can actually see here in the rack, we have our Shure QLX receiver, and you can see the difference between the Shure QLX receiver and the SLX receiver. And so what I really like about the QLX is not only do you see a really good detailed level meter here, you also see my RF, and you can see the bars of how strong my radio frequency transmission is. You can see the meter for the battery, so I can tell how much battery life I have, and I don't have to be on stage, and it just looks cool, and there's always points for looking cool. The SLX system, which is right here, you can tell I've got the meter here, but I don't have any battery indicators. It does show me what antenna I'm on, because every receiver has two antennas, an A antenna and a B antenna, and it makes it what's called diversity. But it's not nearly as detailed as the QLX, and so there's just some added benefits there. Now, all of these microphones are running through the RF Venue Diversity Fin antenna, and it's a RF Venue is a newer company, but it does a wonderful job. When we started using that, we actually reduced our RF issues by about 95%. And so it's a great unit. We run all of our mics through the Shure antenna distributor. We've got 2 of those, so it's 4 per distributor, and then those get combined down to this antenna. And so it works really, really well that way. And so the more that you start to develop and use wireless systems, you'll start to figure out what their strengths and weaknesses are. And so those are the two that we use. I'm a big fan of Shure, and I really like the QLX systems. So if you have any questions, make sure to comment below, like, share, comment, and hit the bell on YouTube. We'll see you guys next time.